Welcome to The Localist, a podcast for small businesses where we talk about the highs and lows of building community through entrepreneurship. I'm your host, author of the Localist book, and small business consultant, Carrie Rollwagon. The Localist is sponsored by Infomedia. Infomedia is a digital strategy company where I work as senior vice president. At Infomedia, we help small businesses get big results online. Our guest today is Luke Richey. So Luke is Director of Content Marketing at Uptick Marketing. So Uptick is the sister company of Infomedia. And Luke and I work together really closely because I work as a consultant for Uptick Marketing as well. We also work together really well because we are both writers. So writing and communications is most of my background, and that is exactly what Luke does. I respect him so much as a writer, as a manager, as a coworker, and I've really enjoyed following his LinkedIn posts in particular because I can really see the way he approaches writing for clients and small businesses, and it's something that I wanted to share with you. Because I think writing is something that small business owners are not always gravitating toward, but some of the things that we can do with words and with writing can really sell our services very well and sometimes in a pretty inexpensive way. That's exactly what we're talking about today because we're going to deep dive into email marketing. Now, that sounds like a really boring thing to do, right? Deep dive into email marketing, but I think it's actually pretty exciting because email can be sometimes a free, but in almost all cases, a pretty cheap way to interact directly with your client base. You can really build serious loyalty. You can sell products. You can get people excited about what you're doing and communicate what you're doing really well. I found that to be true personally. I started an email newsletter a few years ago. We'll put a link to sign up in the show notes if you're interested in that. And it has been really surprising how much traction I've gotten from that. Luke has worked on a lot of email newsletters, both for Uptick as a company and for different clients, some of them personal newsletters, some of them business newsletters. He has a ton to share. So if you're looking for a way to talk about your business in a way that is cheap, really super doable, doesn't take a lot of extra assets or a lot of extra time, and is actually incredibly effective, I think email might be exactly what you're looking for. I did want to mention that we name drop a lot on this podcast about people who work at our different companies. I think it will be kind of obvious who does what, but if you are really interested, you could always go to the websites at Infomedia and at Uptick and kind of put faces to names with that. But I really enjoyed this conversation. I love sitting down with Luke at work, and I'm really happy to be able to share it with you too. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm excited. I'm always excited to talk to you because we're both writers,
Yep.
and I feel like we think things are interesting that other people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think in a lot of meetings, somebody will say something like they'll mess up a common phrase or something, and I feel like my eyes shoot right to you, and we're all like,
Oh,
yeah.
You and then Hannah, and then we'll shoot, we'll look at each other, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they just say that? Did Alan just say that?
Yeah, exactly.
That phrase? Yeah.
It is always Alan.
Sorry, Alan.
Yeah. So I feel like this is going to be fun because it is cool for me to take something that I've worked in for a long time and talk to somebody else who is an expert in it and a specialist in it too. Mm-hmm. So today we're talking about writing, but specifically email and email marketing, and even more specifically kind of like the newsletter type of email marketing. So
Yes.
First of all, kind of say how that differs than like drip marketing and how like that is different than what we're talking about today.
Yeah, probably the cadence is the most different. With email or with newsletters, you're going to do it like once a month. Maybe some people do it once a week or something. And where drip, it's going to be probably a lot more. It's going to be a lot more frequent, and it's going to be more of like when people do something, it's going to trigger that drip email to then kind of populate in their inbox. Whereas a newsletter, it's going to come every month or every week or whatever kind of cadence you want to do.
Yeah, and usually drip is like trying to make somebody do something.
Yep.
It's like you visited our website once or something.
So yeah, newsletters are going to be informative too.
Yeah, and the newsletter is typically like a little more like building loyalty, would you say?
Yeah,
Or
brand
like,
loyalty, yeah.
yeah.
We do, I mean, for us at least, for Uptick, we do want them to go to our contact page and obviously like become a client of ours
Yeah.
or, you know, use one of our services they're not using or something. But yeah, it's definitely brand loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to give something of value to them and also kind of show how we're experts in what we do.
Yeah. I also think that the newsletter marketing can be more accessible sometimes to small businesses because, and it doesn't have to be like this, but I feel like when you start coming up with drip campaigns, it's like you have like charts and email upon email upon email, and you're setting up all these systems. And
That can be a lot.
yeah, and newsletters don't have to be like that. Like, obviously, you can set up a scheduled newsletter, but you could also send it, like, hit send, and it sends immediately and just do it once a month.
Yeah.
So I think there's more information usually in it, so it's not that it's so easy, but I just think it's kind of more accessible as a place to start.
For sure, definitely. Like you said, there's a lot you have to do with like drip emails and newsletters. You can just kind of write up something and then hit send.
Yeah.
Get a good layout, and there you go.
Yeah. So, how would you respond to somebody? Because I've had people tell me this, and I actually used to be this person who was just like, email, like, this doesn't work. Why would I send an email? Like, okay, I'll actually embarrass myself about this. Like, years ago, before I started my newsletter, I was just like, I don't read these things, so like, surely no one else does. So if people think like nobody even reads these, they don't even work, like how would you respond to it?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I think that's a common misconception in the industry that like nobody reads emails anymore. But when you get into the platform itself, you can see like who all is. You can get pretty granular and see who all is interacting with your content, and it's a lot more than what you think. Now, of course, there are people that leave you unread. There are people that become like disengaged from you or whatever. But it is a really great tool, especially cost effective, just to get in front of your audience. I think Jared talked about in one of his other videos how it's like a free way, almost a free ad. It's not exactly free, but it is very cost effective, and it's just a way to promote yourself.
Yeah, and it isn't free, but it is like it's not expensive compared to like almost anything else you're doing in marketing.
Oh yeah, it's way less, way less.
Yeah. So I agree. And I will say anecdotally, because I would collect emails kind of, like I would like even like have a sign up sheet if I had an in-person event, but I didn't really do anything with them. And then I finally did start to I decided I wanted to write a newsletter every week and send that out. And honestly, I kind of did it more because I wanted a writing project. And I have been really shocked at the response. And that not only do I see like people are clicking and people are doing things from it, but my newsletter is like by far the thing people mention the most when I see them in person, which I feel like is really interesting because that's like an extra level. Like they didn't just click on it, but I mean, I wouldn't say like once a week. First of all, I don't go out that much, and secondly, I'm not that popular. But like,
you are popular.
Thank you. But definitely once a month, like I will see somebody at a coffee shop, like a friend or an acquaintance who's like, "Oh, I bought that book that you recommended in your newsletter," or like, "I really loved what you shared about this." And people will actually just like hit reply and also tell me that, which is shocking to me, in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's kind of amazing what you don't know when it comes to newsletters and how many people interact with it and will just be like, oh yeah, I saw that. And they might just look over it. They might just glance over it, but that sticks in their brain.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about why you might want to have, like, if somebody's saying, well, I have a really dedicated following on Instagram or wherever, like on another platform, so why would I care? Like, essentially the level of control you have with emails versus the level of control you have over your social media followers. Does that make sense?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I would go with, for one, not everybody on your email list is going to be on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are. You do also, you have more control in terms of the layout, in terms of even the content. You can include links, whereas on Instagram, you're not going to be able to include links except in your bio or whatever. So there is that too, where you can drive people to your pages in a lot easier way through a newsletter.
Yeah, and also social media kind of punishes the links. Like they don't want people to go off platform.
Yeah, they don't want you to. Yeah.
So if you have something that's saying link in bio or has a link, now I can't prove that because I don't know exactly what the algorithm is doing, but typically I think it's kind of known that they sort of deprioritize that because they want people to stay on the platform.
Oh yeah, they definitely suppress it.
Where
for sure.
with email, that's not the case at all.
No.
Like Gmail isn't like, don't leave email, we need you here. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
Gmail,
different.
Mailchimp, Constant Contact, they don't care. They want, they're prioritized, or they are given the chance to help you reach your audience. So they don't care where you send them.
Yeah. Like Mailchimp is making their money from me paying for the newsletter list. Like I'm the client.
Yeah.
Instagram is making their money from advertisers trying to get users. So like me as the person posting is not really their client. It's the user that's their client. So it is different in that in the email space, like you as the person sending the email are the client, and that's not the case for social media.
Mm-hmm.
And people lose access to their social media accounts all the time. Like we see it. We all see it all the time where it's like somebody's like, I lost my account, I was hacked, this happened. And then if you lose that, like even if you knew all of their Instagram handles, that doesn't translate. Like even if you went back and followed all of those people back, they're not necessarily going to follow you back. And you can't take your Instagram handles and go to TikTok. But you could take all of your emails that you gathered in Mailchimp and put them in Constant Contact.
Yep.
And it still works. Put them in Substack, So it is like those contacts, I think, are a lot more valuable. And people keep their emails forever, it seems like, these days. So anyway.
A lot more often, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas a post, you'll just scroll past it, but in the email, it's kind of always in their inbox, unless they delete it.
Yeah. Because I still have people, like one of the ways I really built my newsletter list initially was I did a Kickstarter to raise money for my book, and I took those emails from the Kickstarter, which were really valuable because these were people who had given me money. So like they were primed to want to see stuff from me. And you could export out of Kickstarter. I don't know if you still can. I assume you can. But so that's kind of how I built that email list. But I still have people, and this was like over a decade ago, that have the same email or responding to me and still following because we were connected like all those years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk a little bit about should this email come from the business or come from a person? I guess what do you when you're kind of like if we send emails from Infomedia, they typically come from Pam or Jason. They don't come from Infomedia. Like why is that better?
Yeah, so B2B, I would say you definitely want to be a person. So like we've seen a lot of better results. We did tests on it basically. You can test for senders on like Mailchimp or something. And we tested between Uptick and like Jerry Brown. Mm-hmm. And Jerry Brown always did better. People like that personalized touch.
People like you, Jerry Brown.
They do. They do like you, Jerry. His ears are burning right now.
Yeah.
Now for B2C, I could see like if you're,
And so that's business to consumer. So B2B is like if you're selling to another business. B2C is like if you have retail or you have like a coffee shop or something like that. So yeah.
If you're business to consumer customer, then you might want to do like your company name because like you want to become a well-known brand or you are a well-known brand. So, but if you are business to business, then I would definitely suggest having a person unless you're like really close with your followers or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and it kind of does show the difference because usually if I get an email from like the electrolytes I'm buying or something, it's from Element. It's not from whoever runs Element, Yeah. But I do think you're right. Like we've seen at Infomedia too, like we get much better results if it's the person. Also, to some extent, I think we're both like service-based businesses. So I don't know if that, I guess that would be like a B2B, like a normal thing.
Yeah, and that's a part of it too, that service-based, like, and people know Jerry, people know Clay or Pam or whatever, like that they talk to them on a regular basis. So we definitely seen that you want to be more personalized for sure.
Yeah. And we are using people that are kind of well-known, at least to our clients. We aren't choosing like whoever started like 6 months ago necessarily.
Yeah.
So we, at our companies, we have obviously the company newsletters that come from Jerry or Pam typically. But you guys have also, especially at Uptick, and I guess we've done this at Infomedia too, you have individuals on staff who also have their own newsletters.
Yep.
Can you tell me some of the why behind doing that? Because I find that super valuable for me personally. But how have you? Why have people at your company done that, and how has that worked out?
So I think specifically it was with Lance,
Mm-hmm.
and I think for him it was brand recognition. He was trying to get, or he is like getting a following on LinkedIn and other platforms, and he wanted to do that too. And we wanted to promote to his clients specifically, kind of, and show his expertise. He's not just an account manager
Mm-hmm.
at Uptick. He is a senior SEO consultant,
Mm-hmm.
so he has that expertise. So a lot of his clients are SEO,
Mm-hmm.
search engine optimization. And we wanted to make sure that they were getting a good foundation from him, and they were getting another touch point from him as well.
Yeah.
And so we spawned that, or we launched it, and it's done really, really well.
Yeah. Well, and some of those conversations, like, so with Lance, actually, he and I had conversations, I think, before he even started the newsletter, where we were talking about his personal brand. So you touched on this. We were kind of saying, like, Lance wanted to grow, like, his personal brand, which Jason, who owns both of our companies, is really good about, like, wanting everybody to develop their personal brand, because
Mm-hmm.
he's like, if your personal brand is good and you're associated with my company, that's good for my company. So we are lucky to have, like, we work somewhere where we're encouraged to work on, like, building up our names, you know? So Lance and I were meeting about that. And he's also interested in video. So we were talking about, like, what's better? Is it better for him to do YouTubes, to do shorts, to do whatever? But then when we started talking about the logistics of video, I was like, I think it may be better to just start with a newsletter. And I do think that's such an accessible place for a lot of people. Now, if somebody's like, if they're like, I'm so comfortable on camera, I love the tech, I have a way of doing this, like, I would recommend that for them, you know? But so many people aren't. And newsletters, I think, are easy to batch. They're easy to prep before. They're just like, you don't have to get as many, like, multimedia pieces in.
They're easier to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Like video, it takes a lot of technology. I mean, we can see here how much
Yeah.
technology it requires for video.
Yeah.
Whereas newsletter, I mean, you get a platform and then start sending out your stuff.
Yeah. So I agree. Like, I felt like this was just a good place to start. I also think it's a good place to start in just thinking through and planning out your content. Because what I do, and this is what I told Lance too, like, I have been doing these weekly newsletters, like, honestly, I don't know, I should have known this before this, but probably 4 years now. And mine are structured on kind of like a tip of the week type of format. So I have all of this content that's already structured into tips. So then it's really easy for me to take that and turn it into video content or turn it into something else. We actually used to do this on The Localist, where I think last season, we did these solo episodes in between our guest episodes, and they were like 15-minute episodes. And our staff came and requested that I do this because they were tired of booking so many guests. And I was like, well, what am I going to, like, I was thinking I'm going to have to, like, create something new. And they were like, no, Carrie, just, like, take your old newsletters. And it was actually really easy because I already formatted my newsletters in, like, a 1, 2, 3 type of format. So I would just literally take that as kind of my outline or my script for the video. So I turned all of those newsletters into video content. I didn't read them verbatim, but I had already, like, thought through, I already had, like, this crystallized idea and, like, a 3-step way to communicate it. So it was really easy to do that. So that's another thing I talked about with Lance. Like, newsletter can also just be a first step for video later.
Yeah.
Because now you have all this content you can turn into more videos.
Well, he puts it on his LinkedIn too. So he'll he'll reuse it as a post or whatever as well.
When he does that, does he take his whole newsletter or does he take, like,
Just snippet.
Yeah, snippets
Just a little
out?
bit of it.
Yeah. So when you guys work on, because you're part of writing, like, you work on ghostwriting a little bit of Lance's newsletter, right? Or
I
you
used
guys
to
go
be.
back and forth?
Yeah, I do.
So, sorry, Lance, we've demystify.
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
Pandora's out of the box.
Yeah, which Luke and I have both worked as ghostwriters.
Jerry also doesn't write his Uptick newsletter either.
Pam doesn't write the intermediate newsletter. I will say I actually do write my newsletter. I think that's something that, correct me if I'm wrong, you and I have in common because we're writers. We like to actually write our stuff.
Yeah, I write all my posts.
And not outsource it to AI even.
Nope.
Which I don't think that's wrong for people to do, but it's just like as a writer, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, if you're not a writer, AI is a great tool to do that.
Yeah.
But if you are a writer, typically you're going to want to write.
Yeah.
It's just easier for us.
Yeah. I think it's easier, and then also it's like this is my expertise and I'm telling people this is my expertise. I don't know, it's like a little bit of it's a pride thing, but also I do think that when it comes from me, it is better, at least slightly better. Hopefully more than slightly better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would rather do that. But like you're right. If you're not a writer and you're like, I need to communicate in this form, and it's either don't do it or do it really badly or use AI, I do think it's a great tool for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at writing for so first of all, that's something that if people are listening, you don't have to write your own original newsletter. You can set up AI to do it. You can set up a skill to do it, or you can hire a company like Uptick to write it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? Or a private ghostwriter. I used to ghostwrite freelance a lot. My best story about that is I had a client. I had to think through it, and I'm like, can I tell this story without revealing? But I can. I had a client who hired me to write his blog and newsletter. And I personally had written my newsletter about Facebook ads and something I thought they were doing that wasn't working. And this went up on my blog, so just as Carrie Rollwagon. And then he hired me to write a rebuttal to my blog for his blog from him.
Wow, through the looking glass, for sure.
That was one of my most fun. And then I also had a ghostwriting client who used to write inspirational songs and then give them to me to turn into speeches.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's
Don't
doing
stop
that.
believing.
Yeah. So anyway, some fun times. But when you have a client like I know Lance has used you guys, obviously. I believe Clay has in the past too, who works with Infomedia, and you also have different clients you do this for. So when you have a client who's like, I want this personal newsletter, how do you approach that? Like, how do you make it feel personal? And you're writing it, and you also are trying to get it to do something specific.
Yeah. So with Lance, I mean, he does write the first draft, and we will go in and edit it. Lance has great ideas, but we'll make sure that it's kind of polished. Clay, we actually used an AI from Infomedia, a Clay GPT, and that was really great because it had all of Clay's like different emails that prompted it, or just his writing in general. So then we could write it in his voice. And then of course, we do create some GPTs for some clients as well in that case. But we also do a lot of research and deep dive into their voice, we have a document that includes all of that kind of stuff, and we make sure that we use that, and that's our source of truth when we create any content for them.
Yeah. It is interesting. Like, I've been kind of working with AI to it can help to identify a brand voice, but I also think that having a professional look at it can also be like extremely helpful. You know?
Yeah.
Because there are things that you and I will look at as far as speech patterns, but also just things that we know you're interested in, and like influences that you might have that we're going to pull in that AI might not get. But if somebody is looking to do this completely on their own, I do recommend, if people are trying to figure out what their voice is, to pull like 4 or 5 of your favorite things that you feel like really reflect you, and like feed it into AI and ask it to like help you to define your brand voice.
Yeah, AI is a great sounding board, and I use it as a sounding board typically for a lot of the content we write. So it's very good at doing that. It's not good at always replicating your entire voice, and like you said, the cadences of how you talk and speak and stuff, but it can be a great starting place.
Yeah. So when you're formatting a newsletter, so deciding like what sections it has, or like, how do you think through that? Do you try to do sections? Do you try to do this is just like one long narrative, or how do you approach that?
We do sections, as Jerry would say. But we look at, I call it like the bones or the layout of it, and we get that kind of approved first. And we definitely want to see, like, for Uptick, we've got our featured article, our featured piece. Then we have our marketing tip of the month. We have like what's new at Uptick. We have like what's going on, what's industry news that we want to share, and then of course like a CTA at the bottom. And we work through that. Lane actually, it was kind of the brainchild of her in those sections, and we kind of ran with it. But for all the clients that we do, we brainstorm together as a team what sections we want to include, what the client wants to promote, and that kind of informs how we're going to detail the newsletter.
Yeah. I feel like those sections kind of do two things. Like, one is it makes it easier for the reader to kind of scan through instead of a wall of text. But I also think when you're coming up with ideas as a company, that makes it easier to kind of like have set, like, you're not just like, what are our new ideas? It's like, what are the SEO tips we're going to share, or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the sections definitely inform everything that we. Yeah, it helps out a lot. It's like you don't have to start from scratch all the time, and obviously you don't want to do wall of text because TLDR is a real thing.
Yeah.
You want to make sure.
Didn't read it.
Yeah. Too long didn't read.
Yeah.
And you want to chunk your content for sure so people can skim it, have good headings so people can skim it, even in newsletters.
Yeah.
It's true for web page content, but also true for newsletters for sure.
I mean, something I think we know because we do this for a living, but I don't know if everybody knows, like, there are tons of people who are never going to read that whole thing, but they'll scan
Jason.
like yes. Jason, our boss, is actually always the reader that I'm thinking of. When people say like, oh, I wrote this book with like my sister in mind or this ideal reader in mind. When I'm writing emails, Jason is always the reader I have in mind because he does not read the email. He scans the headlines.
Yep.
Like, we both know, and Jason's very open about this. If he sends us an email that says sounds interesting, he just means he liked the headlines.
Yep.
Which is helpful for us to know. But the thing is, if you're building your personal brand or building your business, that's all you really need people to read. Like, I love it when people read my whole newsletter. And a lot of people do. I know my dad does. He texts me every week.
Nice.
Yeah. It's the only social media he really engages with me.
That's so great.
Or at least that he knows how to respond on. So I know some people are reading the whole thing. Of course, I love it when they read the whole thing. But if all they do is scan the headlines, I still get a benefit from that. They still think Carrie has good ideas or Carrie knows about whatever topic I'm writing about. So you're still getting that benefit even if they're only scanning.
Yes. And a pro tip, too, is that I really do believe that your newsletter lives or dies by your subject line or your headline.
Yes.
So, like, it needs to be really, really good and hook. If it doesn't, then it's going to, it's just not going to be good.
Well, let's talk about that because I feel like subject lines are so hard. I'm stressing out just talking about them.
Okay.
Because I 100% agree. They're so important. Like, if you lose them at the subject line, you lost them forever. That's all you've got, basically.
Yeah. They won't open your newsletter.
Yeah. Talk to me about what works, what doesn't, how to avoid sounding spammy. What have you found that works?
So numbers do really well. Percentages do really well. Especially with like the Jasons, the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They love it. They love to see that kind of tactile feel to it. But something that's like it could be a question, something that's a hook, something that makes people want to read more, something that compels them to read more. They're like, oh, I didn't think about this. I need to read this.
Yeah.
I didn't know this before. I definitely need to read this thing.
Yeah.
And spammy is it can be, it's a hard thing to think about because some of those headlines can feel spammy, but I try to like maybe tone it down a little bit so it's not super clickbait or spammy, and that seems to work quite a bit.
I think so too, and it is hard because, okay, in a lot of areas, especially when it comes to personal brand, I talk about how you have to like get over cringe mountain. Like, it's like cringe is part of it.
It
like,
is.
And I think the email subject lines are part of that.
It's like YouTube video titles.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of, it's trying to get attention. That's literally what it's trying to do. So, like I can't think of the exact subject line, but I sent one, and Brad, who works here, who's like definitely like curmudgeon pessimist or whatever, and was like, your subject line sounded really spammy today or whatever, but he opened it.
He did.
It's like, I don't think he reads my newsletter normally.
He opened it.
Yeah. So it's like, I get it. And of course that feels cringe to me, especially as a writer. It's like, I don't want to be cheesy, but you definitely do have to lean into that on the subject line. And I just know, like, I will explain what I'm really talking about in the email, and that's okay. And yeah, it needs to reflect it can't be completely different and just shocking, but you didn't explain what it is. But
YouTubers will say the same thing. They'll be like, I know you guys hate this, but literally people click this video because of this thumbnail, because of this title.
Yeah.
And so, like, as writers, it's like, we know that you hate these subject lines, but you're still clicking into it.
Yeah. Well, talk about preview text a little bit too. Like, what is that, and how does that work with your subject line?
Yeah, it's like a description, basically, of the newsletter. Mm-hmm. I kind of see it as like almost the sister to the subject line. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you've got the hook in the subject line, and then you've got kind of like a little bit more clarity in the preview text. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just gives you that extra thing to be like, okay, I do need to click.
Yeah.
It gives a little bit extra context.
I think so too, and I like it. So if people are listening and you don't know, the subject line, you definitely see it in your email, but the preview text, it looks like it's just the first sentence of the email. Like, if you're looking at, like, if you're just reading your email, it's like, that's how it comes up, which I think Mailchimp definitely does this because that's the platform I use, but I'm sure other people do it. If you don't choose a preview text line, it will just pick up the first sentence of the email.
Yep.
So a lot of times, because I actually try to write my first sentence of the email already pretty, hopefully, to get people in, like a hook, I often use something really similar for my preview text line. I just tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a great tactic to use.
And so the preview, you don't have to start from scratch. It doesn't have to be totally different. It just needs to be, when somebody's scrolling that email, they see the subject line, they're like interested, and then they see what looks like the beginning of the email, and they're more interested.
Yes.
Yeah.
I try to keep them both kind of short and sweet because you don't want them to get cut off in the email.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it happens. But I try to keep those under like a certain character count, and then kind of you can see both of them.
Yeah.
So
I'm not as concerned with the preview text, since to me it looks like it's the first sentence. So if I lose a couple words, if they weren't important words to me at the end of the sentence, I don't care. But the subject line for sure.
For sure.
And making sure, it's definitely true to also, the stuff that matters in your preview text needs to be at the beginning, or it needs to be short. What do you think about emojis in subject lines?
It can work for some clients. Mm-hmm. We don't use them in ours for Uptick, but we have had a client that I have used emojis before. But I don't know if there's any kind of difference, or like if it helps in any way. But if you're like some type of business to consumer customer brand for makeup or whatever, you could try emojis.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it's like, people can definitely overuse them, but I think it's
moderation.
Yeah. If it's working with, like, it helps you kind of say what you're trying to say genuinely, then I think they can work, or at least one can work. I think if they're like, I just needed to add an emoji on this, I think if your subject line stands alone and the emoji isn't adding anything, don't use it.
Yep.
But if it's like, this is helping to communicate, then I think it's usually fine.
That's a great rule of thumb, honestly. Yeah, if it adds something, then keep it. Yeah. If it doesn't, then take it out.
I just realized, because I was like, I used to use emojis in my subject lines more, and I just realized I don't anymore, and I was like, why is that? But it's because my assistant sets up my newsletter now, so I don't know how to type them into the Google Doc. Could just be like, insert this emoji or whatever. But
yeah.
It's not that important to me.
Jazz hands emoji.
Yeah. Well, I want to take some audience questions because I don't want to forget. And I think one of the things we've referred to a couple times is definitely one of our questions.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is from Heidi on Instagram.
Hello, Heidi.
Oh, yeah, hi. If anybody's listening, I put up a question box when I do these episodes. So if you want to submit your questions, that's how to do it. So Heidi, she has more of a comment than a question, but we can infer the question.
Okay.
She says, choosing a platform is my biggest struggle. So we've talked a couple times about like Mailchimp, Constant Contact. Those are the platforms we're talking about. What do you think through when you're choosing one?
So what we think through is also from a design perspective, how easy is it to design in? So Mailchimp is a lot easier in terms of layout to actually get kind of what we want, whereas Constant Contact and others are going to be a little harder. You're not going to maybe get what your vision, basically. You're not going to be able to get your vision cast on certain email platforms. So Mailchimp's really good. It's ubiquitous. Yeah. It's very prominent in the industry. But there's other things too. I mean, you could hook it up. You could use HubSpot if that's your CRM or whatever it might be. But we like that. You can also connect Mailchimp through Zapier to HubSpot or any other CRM. So we really like Mailchimp. It's great. Gives you a lot of good information, and it's easy to design in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I use Mailchimp. I will say I'm not a huge fan of the user interface. Like, I feel like a lot of times when you're like, how do I do this? You just think of the opposite of what would come instinctly. Like,
it's better than others, though.
But yeah, it's
not
better
intuitive, but
exactly.
It's better than others.
I agree with that. So yes, both of things are true. And it is reliable. Like, once you figure out like this is how you do it, then it's how you do it. Like, it's not I mean, they change things occasionally, but it's not. And even when they change things, I think they typically have you can use the old mode for like a really long time, because I think they know people are like, the people using these are not necessarily like high functional, like we're not designers exactly, generally speaking. Yeah. We've also experimented with at Infomedia, we've started designing in Canva and porting to Mailchimp. Yeah. So you can do like, I don't know the ins and outs of that. I don't personally do it. But if you are like, if Canva is like where you really enjoy putting stuff together, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, and Canva is an easier design like tool. It's kind of for novices really, or non-designers. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great way to go as well. Yeah.
Now for me, I tend to like, and tell me what you think of this. There's no wrong answer. I like a very not super designed newsletter. So my newsletter just has a banner, and then it's basically like formatted with the formatting in Mailchimp, because I like to read like an email. I know that, like, if you know from performance, like, how does that's just my preference. It's not necessarily based on what works.
Yeah, I think cleaner is always better. And again, you could kind of play with, depending on your industry, depending on what you do, you could kind of go a little bit maybe crazier or wilder. But yeah, you want to definitely, if you're business to business or something, you want to look professional, you want to look clean, and also you don't want to be too long either, because people don't like to scroll.
Yeah. I also think that's one of the reasons it can be like pretty easy to get started in, because eventually if you want a designed email, you can do that, but you can also just launch with just making it look like, I would add subheads, bullet points if they're useful, like things for people to scan through, but you don't have to have a ton of high design.
You don't, it can be very low fidelity. Yeah.
And a lot of times I think it's better because a lot of people have their email turned off to where it's not going to display images immediately. So I don't love when something's super image heavy, because I'm like, half of your readers aren't even seeing that. Yeah. You know? So there is a middle ground though between like having it be designed but not like flashy, I guess. Because at the end of the day, it's an email. So
it is an email. Yeah. One of our clients does like to include images, but that's because it's part of their ministry. Yeah. And they want to showcase that. But that is true. Like there are probably some that don't see those images at all. But we make sure to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad to do it. It's just like you need to do it intentionally.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then personally, again, because I'm typically personally doing my newsletter and design isn't really my forte, it's easier for me to just go more basic. But I don't think that anybody's expecting anything different from me. So I did like one banner in Canva one time, and I just use it every week. So
yes, and you don't want to get into analysis or what is it, paralysis by analysis,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, it's got to look perfect, it's got to be great. It's just you got to send it. You got to send that newsletter, send it, and get your audience the content that they want to see.
Yeah. Well, while we're on platforms, can you speak a little bit to Substack? Because Substack is like a popular platform in the past few years, but it's not the right fit for a lot of our clients. But kind of talk about what it is, who it would be good for.
Yeah, so for Substack, the way they do it, they monetize your subscribers. So they'll take 10% of all your subscriber income, basically. So it's really good for if you're like a life coach or somebody who's giving advice that people actually want to pay for. So like if you're like potentially a Robert Montgomery and you've got...
So he's a consultant we work with.
Yeah, he's a consultant we work with. I think he's got like Waging War on Normal. He's it's kind of like his shtick is being that. He would be probably a good Substack person if he felt like his audience, his subscribers would actually pay for that content.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like how both Substack makes money and you make money is through that. But they don't allow like any e-commerce sales. They don't do any of that kind of stuff. So really for business to business or business to consumer, it's not going to be the right fit.
So if you're trying to use your newsletter to sell something, then that's not Substack.
Yeah.
If the thing you're selling is your newsletter, that might be Substack.
Yes.
Yeah. And is that usually, I see them a lot of times like around $5 a month or something.
I think that's the starting price. Yeah. $5 a month.
So I would say if somebody's considering a Substack, do you think you'd have at least 15, 20 people who are willing to pay $5 a month?
For sure.
And then is it worth it to you to create that content for that amount of money, basically?
Yeah. And that's something you'd have to gauge for yourself. Yeah.
And it's very different. The people who will engage with your content for free and the people who will pay for it are like completely different audiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will not pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that is difficult about The Localist is that I'm mostly talking to small business owners. And guess who doesn't have a lot of time or money to throw at learning new things?
Yeah.
Small business owners.
Yeah.
So, like, that's partly why, like, I have lots of ideas for a Substack where it could be like, what you should be promoting every month or how to start a business, like A to Z. Like, there are tons of things I would love to do, but I don't feel confident I would get the number of subscribers to make doing a Substack make sense. So I monetize in different ways, and I send the newsletter out for free.
Yeah.
So yeah, it very much depends on what you're doing. I do think Substack also, like, it's way more bare bones as far as design, which I think is by design so that you don't have to spend a lot of time optimizing that stuff. It really is, I think, kind of designed for writers, like if you're wanting to write.
Writers, journalists, people that are in tech culture, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but you would be a potentially good candidate. I know that you just said, I don't know if I want to do it, but you'd be a good candidate for Substack.
Thank you. And I've gone back and forth so many times about whether I should do it. Because my weekly newsletter I don't think it's not necessarily something I would ask people to pay for because it is more just like a quick tip each week. I would love to do more deep dives and do a Substack for that. But it's really just having the time to create the deep dives and then to say, like, again, like, is the juice worth the squeeze, as the tech entrepreneurs like to say. But yeah, I think you're hitting on something that I've definitely thought through a lot of, like, should I start one? Because I feel like I would love to do that kind of writing, like long form writing again, because I haven't been blogging in the past several years really at all. Like most of that time is gone to the podcast. And I think it would kind of like scratch that itch, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But that's what, like, when I run the numbers, I'm like, I don't know if it makes sense right now. So I think that's helpful for other people that, like, you have to say, like, what is the amount of money that you would need to make a Substack make sense for you? And do you really think you have enough people that could do it? Maybe you do. And maybe sometimes it's worth experimenting. I'm at a point where things are so busy that I'm like, I can't run an experiment right now. But
yes.
There have been plenty of times in my life I didn't feel like that. That's how The Localist came to be in the first place,
Yeah, and Substack is for thought leadership. It's not for e-commerce or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
Yeah. I feel like that is a perfect description. Like, Yeah, it's for thought leadership. It's when the newsletter is the product.
Yeah.
That's when it is good for that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, next question.
All right.
Every time, this is anonymous.
Hello, Anonymous.
Yeah. Every time I send an email, I'm scared of annoying people and losing subscribers.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're going to lose subscribers. It's just going to happen. They self-select themselves, and I just wouldn't really worry about that much. I know it's hard to because you're like, oh, man, I really don't want to lose anybody, but people are just going to be like, yeah, I don't really want anything from this content, and so you don't really want to talk to them anyway. Like, if they're not going to do anything with it, then let them unsubscribe, and then there you go.
I agree, but I do think that does mess with your head as a
It
person who works on a newsletter, especially because I feel like Mailchimp is always like, I think it's always like in red, like -5, and then it'll be like +18, like really little.
Oh, yeah, they do that,
Like,
yeah. They want to do that on
thanks a
purpose,
lot.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I was like,
Thanks,
I wish there
Mailchimp.
was a switch where you could be like, good job. A couple people disagreed.
Yeah.
Like, but I do think, I can't remember, one of the writers that I know is like, she described it like that's refining your audience. Like that's, every time somebody unsubscribes, you're closer to having like an audience who really cares about what you're doing.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is true. It also doesn't feel true. Like when people, it's like when you just work on a newsletter and you send it and you immediately see that, it's like,
Oh, yeah, it can be disheartening for sure.
yeah. Maybe talk too about like how people know, like, you know, you report a lot in the Uptick meeting on Uptick's newsletter how many people are actually engaging with it, which I thought was interesting, and I feel like that's people, you should want to do business with Luke because you don't report on, you decided the number you reported on, but you don't report on new followers, you don't report on like how big the list is, you report on the engagement with the email.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is what really matters, but is a harder metric to report on because it's a higher bar basically. But how do you know how people are engaging with it?
So in Mailchimp, they've got kind of pre-selected segments. So with segments, you've got like, you can segment out your audience and say, these are new subscribers, or these are subscribers from, 3 months ago or something like that. But they've got pre-built segments that are engaged and disengaged. And so your disengaged subscribers are people who have not interacted with your content for at least like 5 newsletters or 5 emails. Your engaged they have at least opened up, clicked through, but even just opened up at least one of your last 5 emails, and that's going to be their engaged subscribers. So yeah, ours is about half engaged and then half disengaged, and we're trying obviously to get the engaged subscribers up.
Well, what do you recommend? Like if I see my list, I feel like I get different advice all the time. It used to be like build the list, build the list, build the list, and now it's like, what is your engagement level? Like who's actually like, what's your open rate? What's your engagement level? If I see somebody hasn't engaged for like 5 emails, should I leave them on the list, or do you think I should just purge the list like once a quarter and take people off who aren't engaging?
I don't think you should purge them. If they haven't unsubscribed, now if they've unsubscribed, then yes.
Yeah.
Follow the privacy laws, get them out. Don't follow up with them.
Yeah.
But if they're just kind of like not opening up, they could have been on vacation for a bit. They could have been doing something else. They could have been busy with work or whatever. I wouldn't just purge immediately.
Yeah.
I would wait until they unsubscribe or they ask you like directly, hey, I don't want to be part of your newsletter anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good to know.
Yeah, because you never know. I mean, they might come back and say, hey, Carrie, yeah, I need to talk to her.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's true. And also your things work together. It's like an ecosystem. So they may see like an Instagram post of, they may see a localist guest that they're interested in. And I always give more insight in my newsletter on the podcast guests. So, or not always, but often. So they may like search the newsletter and be like, oh, and open it up again and then get back engaged. So, yeah. I think that makes sense.
A lot of people fall off for a number of different reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely not purge just to purge.
Okay.
Wait until they unsubscribe.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Okay. So Amy asks.
Hello, Amy.
Hi, Amy. I want to start an email list, but I only have about 25 contacts right now. Is it even worth starting with a list that small?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you can. There are free. You be in the free plan basically for most of the platforms, and 25 seems small, but you go from there. But definitely, everyone starts from somewhere. So I would definitely say that you're better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
In terms of your subscriber list. So yeah, definitely start with 25.
I think in some ways this kind of gets to the unsubscribe question too. Like it's hard when you're playing the newsletter email game to feel like I don't want to lose, like I'm trying to build my numbers. So if I send out an email, it's going to hit my numbers down.
Yeah.
So if you can find another metric to be looking at, I think that's helpful so that you're not so worried about the growth of your list, because that can get in your head of like, oh, I have 25 and then I send an email and now I have 23. It can be like demoralizing. But you're just kind of trying to I would say commit to it for a few months, see what you can kind of do there and see if you can build it at all.
Yep.
But I think also this is true with email, with social, with all of these things. We tend to look at these numbers like, well, that's nothing. But if you had 25 people who you could directly tell your idea or your business to, that's actually a lot of people, especially for free. Like you said, that's in the free tier.
It's in the free tier, yeah.
Yeah. So I do think we look at it like this isn't that many people when it really is a lot of people.
Yes, for sure.
But kind of building on that question, how do you get people to sign up for your newsletter list?
So there's a number of different ways. You can put on your website a form to subscribe to your newsletter, or you could put something up for free, like some type of guide or something. And when they sign up, they give you your email. You want to just make sure that you get their name and their emails. And once you get that information, they're on your email list.
Yeah. I've done it a variety of different ways. Like I mentioned, sometimes I will literally have a sign-up sheet. Like when I speak at the library, there's a very different level of tech there. So I usually pass around a physical sheet and just enter them later. Yeah. If anybody's been to one of my talks, I am actually a bit annoying about it, but I'm also teaching people how to do marketing. So
the QR code, right?
Yeah, I always have a QR code, and typically I will have a lead generator, so something that I create to give people a reason to sign up for the email. So yeah, in my talks, I'll usually have something that's geared toward the talk. I need to do better about just giving something away that I already have. I a lot of times will create something new, which is not a good use of my time, but that's what I do. But one of my, and sometimes I create a lead generator just for the email. So a few years ago, I did this PDF of all the coffee shops in the Birmingham area, which were way more than I thought when I decided to do this.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I went through whether or not they have parking, whether or not they had outlets, vegan options, decaf, a bunch of different metrics. I reached out to all the coffee shops and had a form they could fill out. So I got their emails and I told them in the form, you're going to be added to my mailing list. If you want to participate.
Yeah.
I think I actually gave them, they could check yes or no or whatever. Then I created the PDF, and then I had a download, if people signed up for my newsletter, they automatically got that PDF. So then I went on social and said hey, I have this list of coffee shops. If you want it, sign up for my newsletter and you'll get this.
Yeah.
So you can do it like that, even if you don't do speaking events, you can just promote it on social media.
You can do that too. Yeah. Put a link on your socials and say, hey, if you want to hear from me more, here's a link to my newsletter.
Yeah. And make sure the link you said, is on your website. If you have a link tree or whatever in your bio for social media, put it in there. Just put it all the places. But I find that my list usually grows when I have a reason for it to grow. So I will ask people hey, I have this download or I have this thing and you can get it for free. But one of the easiest ways I think to do that, I have a Google Drive folder that's open to where anybody can see it. And I will just create some pieces where I just put it in the folder, and then there's always a link in my email to that folder. It's just called Good Ideas from Carrie or something.
There you go.
And honestly, I've done both. I've done these things where I do this massive coffee shop project and create this long PDF, and it takes forever to gather the information and to design. And then I've done stuff where I'm just hey, I wrote up a 1-page in regular Arial 10-point font in Google Drive on something that I already knew, and that does just as well. So if you're doing an email capture or like a lead generator, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can just create something in Google Drive that's something that you know and include that link in the email. I'm also talking to myself. I need to do that more. I did want to mention, or ask, when it comes to actually writing, you actually mentioned the sections, which I do think helps people a lot for writing. I also use a template that came from the book Marketing Made Simple. So you and I are both very well informed about StoryBrand.
Yeah.
Maybe even too informed.
Maybe.
StoryBrand is a format that helps you write copy for marketing, website copy, etc. But in the book Marketing Made Simple, they have a template that I used it to prove to Jason that I didn't need to use it, because I was like, I know how to write my own emails. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. But I used that format, and then I was like, oh, actually, this is a pretty good format. And every single email I send, 99% of the emails I send are that format. It starts with a hook, a reason why you're reading. It gives 3 bullet points that you're going to find in it. And it's just I have found it to be a really good template. When you're writing, do you like to just kind of free write, or do you like to use a structure like that for this kind of thing?
We definitely use a structure. Mm-hmm. Free writing, you can kind of get lost in the sauce or lost in the words. But if you have some type of structure like, StoryBrand or Marketing Made Simple, that's going to be your best bet for sure on writing a newsletter. Yeah. It's going to keep you on track. You're not going to get off track. You're going to get to where you want to be and actually get the content out there that people want to see.
Yeah. Well, and if anybody's listening and you want that, I have my version of that is in my free links folder, my good stuff from Carrie folder, that you will get in my newsletter. So if you're listening, go to the show notes and sign up for my newsletter.
There you go. Subscribe.
Well, I feel like we're running out of time, but I feel like I still have a million questions I could ask, just because I like to talk to you about writing. Mm-hmm. So we need to have you back at some point. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So how can people follow you? Is it best to get, is it your LinkedIn? How do they want to, how are you sharing information, and how should people get connected with you?
Yeah, so my LinkedIn is going to be the number one thing. Mm-hmm. It's Luke Richey on LinkedIn.
Just spell your last name if people are listening.
Richey.
And we'll also put that in the show notes, but just in case, yeah.
Yeah, and I post at least twice a week or so, try to, about different things that are going on related to SEO, AEO, so answer engine optimization, search engine optimization, local SEO, email marketing, and just AI as well. So anything that's kind of on my brain, I'll post about.
I think your LinkedIn posts are excellent. I feel like they're super well thought out. They don't feel like AI because they're not. So that's probably.
Yeah, I make sure to use parentheses. So
yeah.
And exclamation points.
Yeah. But also I feel like everything, I feel like your LinkedIn posts are kind of like mini newsletters, in that they are actually a fully formed thought, and not just clickbaity. So, I would say you're definitely worth a follow. I feel like it's actually thoughtful and also has some up to the minute information.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much, Luke.
Thank you so much.
If you're in Birmingham and want to learn alongside other small business owners, we have a live event called Localist Lab where we do exactly that. We meet at Saturn on the third Thursday of every month. We have free tacos, free from Ladybird Taco, who's a sponsor. We have free June coffee, and I invite experts like Luke from our different companies to share really specific tools that small business owners can use to grow your business. So I would love to see you at Localist Lab. The Localist podcast is written and produced by me, Carrie Rollwagon. Our showrunner is Taylor Davis. Our outreach manager is Hannah Cragen. And our production engineer here in the studio with us today is Emery Lambert. We record The Localist right here at Infomedia Studios, and I wanted to thank Infomedia for sponsoring the podcast and making everything we do here possible. So until next time, whether you're running a local business or buying from one, thank you for all you do to make our community stronger every day.